My mother, she was very perceptive. She was exceptionally caring. She was very compassionate toward people who were not as advantaged or as privileged as she was, or the way she lived. She always was very appreciative of the things she had. I'm Russell Grand. I am the only child of Pauline and Bertram Grand. Presently, my mother, Pauline, is 95 years old. She is residing in a long-term care facility in West Roxbury, Massachusetts, as a result of advancing dementia. We have had experience with care dimensions for quite some time now, where it started that my mother was at home getting palliative care services from Care Dimensions, and as her needs progressed, it ultimately came to the point where she was admitted to and qualified for hospice services.
Mrs. Grand was a good candidate for palliative care because she had frequent hospital visits and was homebound in her independent living and was unable to go see her doctor, and she had some help at home, but she was in need of additional support and symptom management at home. I like to bring up hospice as early as possible, and I think I brought it up to them at my second visit. And I think that was eye-opening to him, that things might be headed the wrong direction. And also, I wanted to offer him more support. And our hospice team is able to provide so many more layers of support that I thought she might benefit from.
When Pauline first came on service and this pandemic started, we started doing calls with her then primary care physician at the facility. And he joined us for calls. So we could talk not only my hospice physician, the RN case manager, the social worker, the chaplain, myself, and a nurse manager and social worker from the facility. And we would set up Zoom calls to go over, where we were at, what we were seeing, answering the questions Russell had regarding any changes that took place.
It was really helpful to get her primary care team and her doctor on the same page about how things were progressing, because he wasn't able to see her either. And at the time we weren't even doing Zoom calls. So he was relying on my assessment as well, and telephone calls. And he would call her often and talk to her, and she presented quite well on the phone. So it was a little bit difficult to reconcile what he was seeing with what the rest of us were seeing. So again, it was very important to get us all on the same page about her trajectory and the best way to support her throughout the journey.
There was a question about which hospice, and I said she's had palliative care from Care Dimensions, and I said she's done beautifully with them. They really have been very good to her. And fortunately, there was the ability for Care Dimensions to provide hospice services for her where she was. For me, one of the very, very positive experiences has been, from a personal standpoint, that the ability to talk to the hospice team regularly. And I'm not just talking about the hospice nurse who sees my mother. I'm talking about the team manager. I'm talking about the social worker. I'm also talking about the hospice chaplain to a smaller extent. What I have seen that's been very, very, very much helpful to me is that it validated a lot of the thinking I had had through the years about where I thought my mother was to where she is right now.
My team as a whole are very caring and compassionate people. I think many times we place ourselves in how it must feel as family members during a pandemic especially. How would they be feeling right now? How do we help them to ease their worries and ease their concerns about whatever is going on with their loved one?
These folks are very experienced and extremely insightful about what they do. They know their stuff. You can't ask for any more than that. I couldn't think that I could navigate this kind of a process of seeing my mother's last years or last months on earth without a hospice component, because there are too many variables would come up where we just would not have the training. We may have the compassion, we may have the love, but we don't have the expertise that sometimes is called for when these end-of-life decisions come about.